Let's cover how we can use Mapbox to create custom web maps for free. Mapbox does a really good job of making it easy to make professional looking web maps with just a little bit of code and doing it all for free. So let's get started. So you notice here that I have Visual Studio Code open. I have a folder open here called Mapbox, and I'm going to add a file to this folder, and I'm just going to call it webmap.html. So we're just going to create that file, and it's going to open up here. It's HTML code. We're going to leave things like that for now. Now there are a couple things we have to get set up with Mapbox before we are able to actually start developing. So go over and go to mapbox.com. You'll see I have that open here. You'll need to create an account, which you can do for free, no credit card required. And then when you have that, go to your account. And when you go to your account, as soon as this loads, you'll see you have this section called Access Tokens. You can access your tokens up here. You notice that I have a default public token. You can go ahead and copy that. I'm going to refresh it so that you aren't able to see that. Same thing with this teaching token. I'm going to get rid of that, so you're not going to be able to copy and use it. You'll need to use your own token for this tutorial. Just make sure you have that. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. Okay. Now the next thing we need is we're going to need to just set up the head of our HTML, which is going to contain the resources to Mapbox. So the thing we need here, I'm going to pull this tab over. I'm on the Mapbox Quick Start, the installation tab. You can just Google for this or follow that URL there. And this URL is included along with all the code we're going to be writing on my website, opensourceoptions.com, and I'll link to that in the description. Basically what we need is we need to include this script reference and this link reference in the head of our HTML sheet, our HTML file. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to go back over to Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to start an HTML document here. Okay, and then I'm going to start a head tag here. Okay, and now I'm going to put a few things in this head tag. The first is a title, and I'm going to name this my Mapbox web map. All right, and then we're going to add a meta tag here. So meta name equals viewport, content equals initial scale equals 1, and then our maximum scale equals 1, and user scalable equals no. Okay, and then we will close that tag. And now here is where I'm going to copy and paste those two links. Okay, and we'll need to just format these, so we'll tab these over, and then we can get rid of that and get rid of that. Okay, so here's the head of our HTML document. You'll need to have this head at the beginning of every web map you want to create. And your web map, you can create a new web map in each HTML file. So you can create a different type of web map in a, you can have a basic web map HTML and a 3D web map HTML. So there's a lot you can do here. Okay, so we have that. Now, the next thing we need to do is actually start making the map. So we can come down here and outside of the head tag, and here we're going to create a body tag. It's going to be the body of our web page or our map. Now here, we want to create an area, a div, where our map will go. So div ID equals map. And then we can just close that div like this. and that's where our map is going to go. So right now, the content in our body is only going to be this map, so it'll be a full screen map, which is what we're trying to create here. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to add a script, and this script will be the Mapbox code that generates our map. Okay, so the Mapbox library is what we've linked to here. Let me explain that, I guess, is the mapboxgl.js. This is a JavaScript file. It's a JavaScript library, mapboxgl, which contains all the functionality, or a lot of the functionality of Mapbox, so that we can create these web maps. We've now also linked to the mapboxgl.css. CSS is, as you know, styling for HTML, so it provides colors, fonts, positioning, and all that stuff. Okay, now there's one more thing that we want to do here to get things set up, and inside of this head tag, we're also going to add some style, which is CSS code to just set up our map area. So here's our style for the body, which will be the content of our web map. We want to set the margin to 0 and the padding to 0. Nothing, it's not a big deal if you don't do this. You're just gonna, your web map may not be exactly, full screen, and that's okay, it'll still show up. And the next thing we want to do is hashtag map, which will reference our map ID div down here. And we're going to position absolute top. So we're going to say the position should be absolute, and then we're going to tell what the position is. So top 0, bottom 0, and the width is going to be 100%. Okay, and that will set it up once again so that our map displays from 0 to 0 and is 100% wide. So that's got things set up. We're not displaying a map yet because we need to add some code to create that map and also add our token to create that map. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is get an access token. And we can do this, we can do mapbox gl dot access token. We're going to assign our token here. So I'm going to go back over to Mapbox. I'm going to go over to my account and I'm going to copy my token. I'm going to go back to my file and I'm going to paste my token here. Now I need to get this inside of quotes. So I'm going to put single quotes there and then paste my token again. You can see my token is pasted in there. I'm going to go to the end of the line, hit enter. Okay. Now we're going to create our map, and this is super easy to do. So all we need to do is create a new variable, constant map equals new mapboxgl dot map. Okay, and then we need to pass it a few things. The first is the container it's going to display in. So container, which we've specified above as map. So this is the name here of our ID, of our div ID, which is map. So that's where this map is going to be displayed. And then we need to specify style. All right, so let's go to Mapbox and find a style. So here I have a Mapbox, and I don't remember where all this stuff is, but I'm going to go Google Mapbox styles. Do that, the styles, the Mapbox docs, we'll go there. And you'll see we have all these different style URLs that we can use. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy this first one for Mapbox Streets, and then go back over to my code and single quotes and paste that in there. So this will pull up that style on my map. And now we're basically ready to go. So make sure you have this saved. And once that's saved, we want to open this web map. So I'm just going to go to my file here. I've got this file path, the same file that I have here in my Mapbox folder, and I can just double click this to open it in my browser. And you can see it's just referencing that file. And boom, there is my web map right now. Now, I just want you to know that it's possible your map could display differently. Right now, we're just using the default settings. This is displaying as a globe. Sometimes this will display as a flat map. In fact, when I did this test things out, it displayed as a flat map. And that's okay. Just so you know, this can change. Okay, I'm going to close this now. I'm going to go back to my code, and we're going to add a couple of other settings. So one other thing we might want to do is add a center for our map. And we can do this by giving it a coordinate pair, an x-coordinate, a longitude, and we'll do, sure, negative, I don't know, let's do negative 100, and we'll do positive 5. I have no idea what this is going to be. And then we can also specify a zoom level. So the higher the zoom, the closer you'll be to the map. So we specify a zoom level of 1. All right, so we can save that. If you have your auto save set on, it might save automatically. We can just open that web map back up. And you can see it shifted the center of my map. It didn't zoom me in at all. What I can do is I can change this zoom to 10, save that, go back to my web map, click refresh, and you'll see that I'm zoomed in somewhere over a body of water. If I zoom out, you can see that I'm over in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Central America somewhere. Now, if we go in and we change this to, let's do a zoom level of 5, let's change this to negative 110 and 45. This will put me over North America somewhere. So if you save that, go back, we refresh our map, let it load, and you can see here that I'm centered in over the northwestern United States. So that's how you can play around with those basic map settings. Now, one of the next things you might want to do with Mapbox is to add a marker. And this is super simple to do. I'm going to put this out to 4 just so we can get our marker in the right spot here. Now, after we added this map, we have this map variable, const map. We need to make a new variable for a marker. So we can do const, and we'll call this marker 1. And it's going to equal a new mapboxgl.marker. Okay, and then for this marker, we're going to set the longitude and latitude. And let's set this somewhere close to our map center, but not, well, we'll just set it right around our map center so we know exactly where center is. So we'll do negative 110, 45. And then we also need to add it to the map. So dot add to map, which is our map variable, and then make sure we end that statement. And we also need to make sure we end this statement here. Luckily, it didn't throw our map off. But now we've got that, and that should pull up a default marker at the center of our map. So let's go ahead and go back to our web map page. Once again, we can just refresh this. There you go. You can see that it put that marker right there on the Montana-Wyoming border. Okay, let's go back in, and we can easily add another marker. So let's call this marker 2 equals new mapboxgl.marker. And let's add one in a different location. So let's set our longitude and latitude, and let's move it negative 112, and let's move it down a little, so 42. Okay, and then once again, dot add, oops, let's go over and then enter, and then dot add to map. All right, so that will add another marker just like the one we already had, but maybe we want to do some other things here. What if we want to change the color of this marker? What if we want to rotate it a little bit? It's relatively easy to do. So we can come in and we're just going to add some curly braces in here, and we can give some parameters or some attributes to this marker. So we can change the color. We can go color, and we can make it green. And we can give it a rotation. We can rotate it by, I don't know, we could rotate it 60 degrees if we wanted to, or we'll do 45 degrees. And that's going to create us a new marker with some different parameters. Oh, and I put that in marker 1. So I'm going to go ahead and just Control X, cut that. I want to put this in marker 2 and paste it there. Sorry about that, but there you go. You can see that we have this new marker and we're changing it. So let's go ahead and refresh our map here, and we'll see how that changes it. Okay, so you can see that I added that marker. It looks like it didn't rotate. And the reason it didn't rotate is because I spelled rotation wrong. Now we should get a rotation. Let's go and refresh this. And there you go. You can see that marker rotated 45 degrees. Okay, so real easy to just add and adjust those markers. Okay, so we're starting to build a pretty nice web map here. Let's go back and maybe want to add some navigation controls. Maybe we want the option to make this map full screen, to add a zoom in, zoom out button, add a rotate back to north button. You can see I can rotate this map. There's no way to get back to pointing north. I'm rotating it by right-clicking and dragging, by holding the right-click and dragging the right mouse button. Okay, so maybe we want to do that. Okay, so let's go back and let's go add some of that functionality. So all we need to do here is I'm just going to, I need to end that statement. Keep forgetting to do that. And get a little space there to clear this up. So I'm going to come down and I want to do map.add control. And we'll do new mapbox.gl.full screen control. And this will give us the option to make the map full screen. And then I want to give it the location. So I want to put this top right. Okay, and let's end that statement. And then let's do map.add control. The other thing we were going to do was put in some navigation controls. So mapbox.gl dot navigation control. And we'll put that in the top right also. And I did not spell that correctly, so let's do that. Make sure I end the statement this time. And now when I run this, we should see some new controls on our map in the top right corner. So let's go ahead and refresh our web map. And you can see up here in the top right, we can click full screen, and it makes that map full screen. We can rotate any direction we want, and if we click this rotation button, it brings us back to pointing north. And we can use the zoom in and zoom out buttons to navigate our map. All really easy to do with Mapbox GL. Okay, now I want to just cover one more thing with code here, and that's going to be how to get navigation directions. There's a lot more you can do with Mapbox, and we cover so much more of this in our Mapbox course that's about 4.5 hours long, complete with code and video instruction. If you're interested, it's on geospatialschool.com, and I'll put a link down in the description. But for now, let me show you how we can get some more functionality and allow users to get directions from place to place. So let's go back over to our code, and we're going to need to add a couple of things in here. I'm going to copy over a link to another script and another style sheet, and I'm going to put them right up here in my script. All right, and so you can see here that I've linked to this script, and we have a problem here. We'll figure it out in a minute. And the style sheet, and you'll notice here, if you look at this path, this is the Mapbox GLJS plugins, Mapbox GL directions, then it gives you a version number and the JavaScript file. And here we have the same thing, but for a CSS style file. Okay. So that gives us access to that gives us access to those resources. And I apologize, I put these in the wrong location here. These need to go in the body of our script. We need to put them here above. We'll put them above the div tag, and I'm just going to come back and get rid of these 2 lines. Okay, so that's what we should look like. We should have those linked here. You can find these in the Mapbox documentation. I also provide you can copy the code out of the website on the blog post to get these, which is linked in the description. Okay, so I've now included those, and the way that I then add the control to do this, to get those directions, it's the same as adding a control for something else. We're just going to use the map.add control. But the code we just added for that plugin gives us access to more controls we can add. And so I'll show you this here. So we'll do map.add control. But here, instead of new, we're going to do a new Mapbox GL. But here we're going to do, not new Mapbox GL, new Mapbox directions. And inside of here, maybe I should put this on a new line actually, we need to specify our access token. So we're going to set the access token attribute or property, and we can just do Mapbox GL.access token because we've already set that above. And then once we've set that, we're going to specify a position, which we'll put this in the top left. Since we already have things in the top right. And then we can end this statement, and I'm just going to hit enter to kind of clear up where this goes. And this should get tabbed over one to keep that all together. Okay, so we kind of cleaned that up. Let's go refresh our web page and see if I've made any errors. So we'll click refresh. And you can see that we now up in the top right have this choose starting place, choose destination. So if I wanted to route from Missoula, Montana, up here, over to Omaha, Nebraska, and click this. And you can see that it pulls up this route, and it pulls up these directions right inside of my map. And it's super, super easy to do. It requires very little code. And now you can put a map in a web page or on your website that allows users to calculate directions, to your house, to your place of business, to a party, to a wedding, whatever it may be. So that's an introduction to how you can make custom web maps with Mapbox. Like I said, there's so much more you can do. Here, the default was to do this as in a globe projection. You can change projections to make that flat. We can make 3D maps with Mapbox like you can in Google Earth, where you can see the 3D topography and you can pan and rotate around, and it's super easy to do. And all that stuff, once again, is covered in my Mapbox course, which is linked below on geospatialschool.com. Thanks for watching. If you want the code, check out the website, and I'll see you on the next one.